What's going on, everybody? Happy Friday to everyone that is on YouTube, East Coast, West Coast, overseas, wherever you are. Appreciate you popping in, whether you see this on replay or live. Uh, Wanted to have one last stream before I return to work next week, and I've been talking to Jason Hurley, aka the Cap. I call him, the Cap Guru. He runs 49erscap.com and VikingsCap.com. I am not big on math. I do not understand salary cap stuff, so this is more for my own knowledge, and then of course you guys get the peripheral of it. We'll talk salary cap. I think a little bit we're going to talk right now. We'll talk a little 49ers news. Get Jason's opinion on OTA news, Purdy, Lance stuff. The same old thing. And then we'll get into some salary cap questions. Can be for D Hop, another edge rusher, and the rookies and UFDAs, stuff like that. Bosa, and we'll see what Jason has to say. So, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good, Aaron. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty well, I must say. So you were telling me offline how long you've been doing all this salary cap. I don't know how long. You said you've been doing this kind of stuff since 2005. When did you start 49erscap.com and VikingsCap.com?
I started 49erscap.com back in, I believe, 2019 or 2018. It's somewhere between 18 and 19. And as for Vikings Cap, I started it sometime in 2019 as well after my dad passed away. He was a very big Vikings fan. So I decided I would just do that as like a tribute to him type thing.
Absolutely. Yeah, my dad wasn't into sports. I lost him in 2013. He was not a sports guy. Like if I was watching football and yelling, he would tell me to be quiet. Like he just had zero interest in sports. So that's a great thing that you were able to share. Yeah. Were you always a 49ers and Vikings fan?
Always been a 49ers fan. I wouldn't say I'm a Vikings fan. I watch their games for my dad.
Gotcha.
I always watch them with them. So I'm definitely a hardcore 49ers fan. I love the team. I mean, ride or die 49ers. It's all I basically wear is 49ers gear too.
Same.
So
anytime I go in public, it's either 49ers or a T-shirt that has some sort of Violent Gentleman or something Star Wars or something on it. Yeah, my wardrobe is that of like a 14-year-old. So
yeah,
I'm right there with you.
Yeah, I'm like 49ers, Star Wars.
So we're pretty much just like sport nerd guys. That's fine.
Yeah, exactly.
Whatever.
Yeah.
So a lot of conversations been going on Twitter. I'm sure you're aware of it. You're on Twitter a lot because you have the stuff that you do for your own Twitter page and 49ers Cap and Vikings Cap. A lot of talk has been made about, is Brock Purdy elite? Is Trey Lance the answer? Sam Darnold is getting thrown around in the conversation. There's been a lot of discontent in 49er land, actually, when it comes to this kind of topic. I don't know if you are familiar with, oh my God, his name is escaping me right now. Ryan Hensley. And he had he talks about how the 49ers, until they have an elite quarterback, it's kind of like their Achilles heel to get over the top, and that the whole defense wins championship thing is kind of not true in nowadays. What's your take on all that? Are you a proponent of the way that the Niners have been doing things, or do you think until they get the guy behind center like every other team does, they're always going to have this kind of situation?
That's a good question. I more on the side of I believe defense wins championships. I don't think you need an elite quarterback. I do think it would be helpful to have an elite quarterback, but at the same point, if you have an elite quarterback and he's making what Patrick Mahomes and now Lamar Jackson's making, that means you're not going to be able to afford all these guys that we have. especially long term.
Right. Whoop. Sorry.
But
Uh,
yeah, I'm more on the side that defense wins championships, and I I would say it would be nice to have a quarterback, but at this point, I think with the roster the way it's constructed, I think it can win.
See, I for like with the whole thing with Brock Purdy, for me, last year was a trip, right? We all
Yeah,
enjoyed it. We went through it with Jimmy Garoppolo. We were there.
yeah,
We fell for it. I feel a lot of deja vu when it comes to the Brock Purdy, just how things went last year and the Jimmy Garoppolo situation from 2017, where everybody, including myself and most 49er fans, thought he was the guy for the future. And it turns
mhm,
out he wasn't. And there's been some statistics that have been shown that all the teams that have won the Super Bowl the last 4 years have all had quarterbacks throw for over 4,000 yards, uh, you know, almost 40 touchdowns, and
yeah.
just are like, it's just the game has changed. And um, I guess the question I'm trying to how to phrase this so I don't keep going and going. The thing of having a quarterback, that the reason they drafted Trey Lance is because they have a quarterback that can play outside the scheme, that is able to facilitate things when it's not there, and that Brock Purdy's more or less Jimmy Garoppolo kind of 2.0, where he just takes what the defense gives him and he's extremely efficient. Uh, are you of the mindset that if Trey Lance was the quarterback and he was the guy, that maybe the Niners could take it to the next level? Or are you comfortable with a guy like Brock Purdy running the offense?
Honestly, I'm neither Team Brock or Team Trey. I am basically whoever wins the quarterback position. I am all behind the quarterback, whoever it is. I like both Brock and Trey. I'm not sure about Darnold. I don't think he's actually going to get the starting job. Um, I like Brock. I think he did well. I think coming in very, how you say, not ready, to come off the bench and be able to do what he did that game. It's escaping my mind about what game he came in
He came
to.
in the, I think he came in the, was it the Miami Dolphins game that he came in? Jimmy Garoppolo got injured during the Miami Dolphins game.
Okay, yeah. I
And
couldn't
then he
think if
came
it
in
was Miami or Tampa.
because I think Tampa, yeah, that's true. You're right. I think
Tampa was his first start, I
I think
think.
Tampa was his first start, and they're making the big deal out of, oh, he's going against Jimmy
Yep.
Garoppolo, or he's going against Tom Brady, not Jimmy Garoppolo.
Right.
And that was that whole side story. Um, it, to me, it's like I see how teams that win the Super Bowl, how they're constructed, and how the quarterback necessarily, or the team necessarily, doesn't have to have all pros at every position. You look at the Niners roster and they got a loaded defense. They have a
Yep.
star-studded offense, and
Yep.
they're pretty great everywhere on that team. The only position that they have question marks all the time is at quarterback.
Yep.
And the thing when they drafted Trey was going to be the guy to bridge the gap, where if this team starts to falter or this team loses guys over the course of the next couple of years, and the defense and offense maybe aren't as prolific as once were, they're going to have a quarterback who doesn't have to have a fully loaded roster and a bunch of yak monsters, that they can actually themselves facilitate the offense. And that's kind of where I'm on the offense with a guy like Ryan Hensley. I agree with him on that part. And some people think that Brock Purdy has arrived and he's the guy. Um, yeah, 49ers throwback said it best. I do not agree with Warner's take that defense wins championships. I don't think it's happened yet with this particular team. So you're of the mindset that you don't really care as long as the quarterback is getting wins for the 49ers.
Yeah, I'm not gonna be like, oh, I'm gonna like be down on Brock or be down on Trey or Sam or whoever the quarterback is. It doesn't matter to me as long as they're winning. And if they don't win, then yeah, I'm going to be critical of them. I'm not going to be there and be like it's all sunshine and roses and flowers and all this is, it's happy and everything's great and we're losing terribly. So
What what's what was I going to say? Do you think that Trey Lance has a fair opportunity now that Brock's not going to be throwing for however long that's going to be, to
I
not
be-
maybe to win the job back, or at least get himself in the conversation to where it's a possibility?
yes, I believe Trey does has the chance, has the ability. He's gonna be able to make this a good competition, I think. I don't know who's gonna start week one. I want to say Trey Lance because I don't know if Brock's gonna be ready, but it'll be very interesting to see who wins this camp battle between the three of them. I mean, like I said, I don't think Darnold's really going to be a starter. He's more going to be that emergency third quarterback, but it's just in case. I, I just, I'm a big Trey Lance fan. I was happy when we drafted him. I like Brock Purdy. I didn't see what happened coming. Come,
No, I don't think any of us
I
did.
didn't. Nobody thought Brock was going to be able to just come out of the gates and like light up the league almost. I don't want to say light up the league like he was Patrick Mahomes, but he looked like a competent quarterback. And I don't know if I agree with that. It's the system that makes the quarterback really with Brock.
I think that he is capable, and that what you saw last year was a lot to do with him.
Yeah,
But he also, like, when I look at it, he has a lot of guys with at his disposal that can take
yeah,
the ball after a 5-yard catch and turn it into a 25-yard gain. You know what I mean? Like
oh
Christian
yeah,
McCaffrey, Debo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle, all those guys can take the ball and a short completion and make something out of it.
oh
I
yeah,
guess when you look at a team like the Chiefs, like they lost Tyreek Hill, right? And
right.
they didn't miss a beat. They
No,
won
they
the Super
didn't.
Bowl. And to me, that's a reflection of the greatness of Patrick Mahomes. I guess what I'm
Yes.
saying is what's this? How high can you? How much higher can you get with a guy like Brock? Like how much higher is his ceiling compared to a guy like Trey Lance?
Yeah, that's the big question. Is what is Brock's ceiling? Is he a franchise quarterback? I agree with what Ryan said that I think he tweeted out that we have to find out by the end of the year who the franchise quarterback is. We really need to do that because we cannot keep going into every off season. Well, we like this guy and we like that guy, so we got two starting quarterbacks and three capable starting quarterbacks. You need to have the one guy.
Yeah,
And
like
I,
then when all the times they've won the Super Bowl, they had one guy who was the starter and he was
yep,
unquestioned.
yep.
And now this whole like plug any guy in and we have this great defense. The defense has been great, but I mean, in the fourth quarter against the Chiefs, they absolutely collapsed. You know what I
Yep.
mean?
Yeah.
This defense is not a perfect defense. And I
Oh
really
no,
think that
no.
the offense, the league has proven over the last at least 4 years that if you don't have a quarterback that can throw for over 4,000 yards and a bunch of touchdowns and who could take a team on his back, it's unless the Niners got into a Super Bowl with the Chiefs and they were able to score, they would have to score essentially every drive, as the Chiefs have proven that. Like you miss one time, you have a turnover like the Eagles did. That was the difference in the game essentially. So
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
more or less on the side of It's great what Brock Purdy did last year. I'm happy. I was satisfied as a fan. But if you ask me, do I think he's a franchise quarterback? I would say no. And I look at a guy
Right.
like Trey Lance,
Right.
and he has all the tools to be that guy. It's just a
Mhm.
matter of can he put it all together.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if Brock's a franchise quarterback or not. Trey has everything you want in a quarterback nowadays in this day and age of the NFL. He's got the arm, he's got the arm strength, he's able to get the ball to the receiver. I'm just having a hard time with everything.
Well,
Um,
is his mobility is the one thing.
Mobility is something that I like his mobility. I really think they need to use that, but don't call so many design runs up the middle.
Right? Don't run him like
I'd
a fullback.
right. I'd rather see Trey Lance out there. If he has to run, it's basically you either do the QB option, the read option, or it's a broken play and he scrambles for 5, 10 yards, gets the first down. That's fine. But this putting him in position to where he's just gonna potentially get hurt again, I'm just not a fan of.
Yeah, I don't think it's sustainable. 49ers throwback asked, he goes, Aaron, do you think our O line and D line got dominated the NFC Championship? Absolutely. That's a huge question because some people were watching the game over and they said our offensive line was just tossed around. And you look at what we got, we essentially have the same line minus McGlinchey.
Right.
So can our quarterbacks even stay alive all season with this, this
Yeah.
offensive line? As far as the D line, I think the 49ers defensive line in the NFC Championship game was just on the field so long that they just eventually just kind of wilted. You know what I mean? Like that game was over. That game was over in the second quarter once they lost both their quarterbacks. So
Oh yeah, the game was over once they lost the quarterback. I
it
mean,
was very, very disheartening to watch a game knowing that your team had absolutely zero chance to win it. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah, it was disheartening. It was. I went into the game nervous as could be because I just I've been a fan since '94.
Okay.
I was 10 years old when I finally understood
What's up,
football.
Ash?
And I understood football pre '94. Basically, I would watch football with my dad and my grandfather, and I would just watch it. I really didn't understand it,
Yeah, that's how I
and
was in
then
the beginning too. I didn't get anything but the rules. What's a
right,
first
yeah,
down? Like anything. Yeah,
yeah,
yep.
yeah. So finally, when around '94, when I was 10, I really fell in love with Steve Young's Jerry Rice.
Oh, most definitely.
So that's one big reason. That's that's just that's how I fell in love with the 49ers and became a fan.
I
But
think it was like 89 or 90 when uh, it was right around the end of Montana's time. I got really into football. And
yeah,
I had a neighbor friend who was a Bills fan. Even though he was a Bills fan, he was a huge Montana fan. And he just pretty
yeah,
much, I watched football videos and games and recorded games so much that I learned everything. And it became obsessed almost to the point where it was like unhealthy. The Niners would lose a game and I'd be emotional, crying like a little
yeah,
girl.
yep, yep,
Oh yeah, like at the championship game they lost against the Packers. I think it was in '97. So it was like it was in Candlestick. It was raining and they played absolutely dog water. I remember
yeah,
being so upset. My dad's like, "You do realize they get paid after this game, right? Like their life's not over. So maybe you
right,
should like somehow rearrange your priorities. And so
Yeah.
it only took me another 20 some odd years to do that because I still, up until
Yeah.
recently, I think after the Chiefs Super Bowl, that was such an emotional letdown that I was able to kind of like not let football destroy my life anymore because that was at the
Yeah.
lowest we could go, you know? We
Yeah.
lost with 7 minutes to go. That game was essentially ours for, majority of the game.
Yeah. Yeah. I think what really made me be the way you are now, it was right around 2019 was when we went to the Super Bowl. And it just clicked that, there's more to life than a game.
Yeah. My
I'm
mom
not
told me
gonna
about, yeah.
I'm not gonna let it ruin my life, ruin my daily, what I do on a daily basis. And not to get political or anything, but with COVID hitting, it really taught me that there's more to life than a game. You
Oh,
gotta
absolutely.
really spend time with your family. So I'm a diehard fan, but at the same time, I don't take each loss like it's the end of the world. Not anymore. I used to
100%.
scream and yell at everything, and it was just who I was. And I'm glad I'm not that person anymore.
Me too.
I still love my team. I
This is only until
want,
recently that I became like this. I would
yeah,
say
yeah,
2018, I was still an absolute psychopath. And after that Super Bowl, it just changed, you know, it just
yeah,
changed everything because it was like we all let ourselves go there thinking we might have this game and then it didn't happen,
yeah.
So let's uh, let's talk some cap stuff here
Okay.
since that's your
Yep.
specialty.
Yep.
Based on what the 49ers have in salary cap and what they could get from a potential Bosa deal, is DeAndre Hopkins a realistic signing? I know it's not going to happen, and I know a lot of 49er fans have talked about it. What kind of deal
Yeah.
would you be looking at if you signed a guy like DeAndre Hopkins?
I'll put it this way: if you want D Hop, you're gonna have to pay him what OBJ got.
So between
1
15 and 20
year,
million?
15 million guaranteed, up to 18 million incentives, and the team just can't afford that. They have 10.3 million in cap room that I have them at. I don't. Obviously, things differ from site to site, but what I have personally, or what I have with my data is 10.3 million, and in reality, that's like 3 to 4 million when the season starts, and that's hoping no injuries happen. We all know what will happen in training camp, preseason. Guys are going to start on IR, so it's going to go down. And D Hop is just. It would be great to have a guy like D Hop, but at the same time, he's going to be 32. He hasn't produced well the past 2 years, whatever. But I would say it's very unlikely that that would happen.
Okay.
It would have to be a very very team friendly deal for the
Well,
49ers
a
to do
lot of
it.
people are saying it wouldn't be more than a 1 or 2 year deal. Like the Niners would have to do something along the lines of making it incentive base or signing bonus type situation.
Yeah, what the 49ers would have to do is they would need to put in 4 void years. Unfortunately, that would mean that once he's not with the team next year, if he's not, just hypothetically speaking, let's say Diop signs a contract. It's a 1 year deal. It's got 4 void years. So the
Four
void
void
year,
years?
right?
That's crazy.
Four void years to spread out the signing bonus and whatever they would give him, and then you take 4/5 of that signing bonus, that's dead money next year. And the 49ers need every bit of money they can get next year because they have Brandon Ayuk they have to extend. They still are going to extend Nick Bosa. That's going to save cap room, but that's going to take time to get a deal done. So,
What's your okay, let's talk Nick Bosa.
yeah.
Let's go to Nick Bosa. What's a contract that you like what if Jason was making the contract for Nick Bosa based on what you know the Niners like to do and based on what the market is for edge rushers? What are we what are we looking at, do you think, as far as maybe years and money and maybe signing bonus wise?
Yeah, I actually just put out an article of what I would project when they close the contract. And basically, what I said was it would be a 5-year deal. It would run through 2028. So it would be 5 years on top of this year. $35 million a year per average. That average for a year. $35 million signing bonus. That's $7 million prorated over 5 years. And then what I would do to get his cap number to be lower next year than anywhere near 35 million is he basically has minimum base salary, the minimum that you can make. And I would also expect him to get a protected option bonus. And when I say protected, it just means he's guaranteed to get it. If they declined it, it doesn't mean they declined his contract. It just means that it doesn't prorate over 5 more years. So a Nick Bosa contract, you're looking at 5 years, 35 million a year. You're looking at he's gonna want to, whether or not he really wants. He says he's not all about the money. It's not all about he does. He's not worried about the deal and being the highest paid player, but his agents are the same agents for his brother,
Mm-hmm.
and
His brother
they're
got
gonna.
paid.
Yep, and they're gonna want to get Nick more than what Aaron Donald got, which is around 31.6 million a year. And if you really inflate it, you, you go up more. I think the ceiling, the lowest that I could see him accepting is 33.5 million. The highest, I hope it's 35 million. I hope it's not more, because that's a lot of money.
Oh, it's a
As
ton of
for
money.
as for guaranteed money, I believe when the contract is signed, sealed, delivered, everything is put to pen and paper, that he's gonna be the highest paid non-quarterback. He's gonna have the highest guaranteed money and fully guaranteed money at signing of any non-quarterback.
That's insane. And the Niners, they don't like to pay people. They do
They
and they
don't.
don't. It's
Right.
always team friendly.
Yes. Yes.
Let's oh, go ahead.
Now, what I was gonna say was they do like team friendly deals, but they're also very willing to pay the player. They always get the deal done, basically. We
Right.
saw Debo last year. We wanted a trade. It's just who knows what really happened. They got the deal done. That's all that matters.
That
Yeah.
was an interesting situation, to say the least, with the whole but and then he came in out of shape, which was the part that really got to me. is you get paid and then you come in fat and slow, and then you're not really effective. He was not super. I mean, he was okay last year, but he wasn't like the Bosa of the, or excuse me, of the Debo of the previous year. Let's keep it on the defensive side.
Yep.
And talk. Everybody, you kind of gave us some more of a realistic number of what the Niners cap's going to be as we get closer to the season, but the number is 10.3 million, and then the Bosa deal could extend that, free up some money.
Yeah.
What would be the most the 49ers would be willing to spend for, say, an edge rusher? A 1-year deal, Frank Clark, Yannick Ngakoue. I think that's a lot of people want Yannick. He's still out there. What's a realistic 1-year deal, maybe 2-year deal? And how high do you think the Niners go? Do you think they go for a lesser known guy like the guy that played for the Rams? I'm trying to think of his last name, but
Leonard Floyd.
Yeah. What's your
my feeling with it is $5 million a year is the most that they're gonna go.
Okay.
And that may not even be what they go as high or what they're willing to go. They may say to the player, you've been on the market since March. Take it or leave it, type thing. I would love Jonathan Ngakoue. I would love a Leonard Floyd, a Frank Clark, someone like that.
Just a comparable guy I caught, because Bosa, if you look at him, who's across from him? Drake Jackson, Beal. Like, there's no concrete guy.
Yeah, no, there is no concrete guy opposite Bosa. You have Drake Jackson, like you said. He looks great, but that's gotta, looking great in practice is one thing, and actually having it translate over onto the field is another thing. You basically got to produce on the field. It's great that you look great in practice, but you're going up against your teammates.
Yeah, and a lot of times you're going up against air or with no pads. Yeah,
exactly. Yep. So yeah.
So $5 million. That would probably take him out of the running for pretty much everybody.
Yeah. It depends though on. I don't want to say like the max is like 5 million. It's hard to say because I think they're willing to do an incentive laden deal where basically 5 million base value, and then they give the guy like another 5 million that he can earn in incentives. So maybe it's a 1 year, up to $10 million contract, but it only counts $5 million. See, that's the thing. Incentives can be tricky with the cap. Some of them will count against the cap. It just depends. And I think with a guy like Yannick Ngakoue, if you were to offer him a 1 year deal up to $10 million, I think he would really seriously think about taking it.
Yeah, and the fact that he would go to a team like the 49ers too, where they could get him more money the following year if he plays with Chris Kasarik too.
Oh yeah.
How much? I know. I'm going to go back to Bosa for a sec. What are we looking at as far as savings if Bosa get his deal done this year? What's the number?
Yeah.
What's the millions saved? Is it 6, 5, 8, 10 million? What are we looking at?
It's just under $10 million. I project it to be about 9.779 million.
That's not bad.
It's just like 9.8 million, which is a pretty good number.
It is. It's a really good number.
And
give you a little bit of room as far as if you need to make a move mid-season or something.
Exactly. The way I always talk about it is you need to have cap room in season to do something, whether it's emergency, injuries happen. If we got to bring in someone off the street, there goes another roster slot. There goes another 900,000, $1 million, whatever it is. 750 for the rookie minimum.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, it's a nice number to have in your back pocket in case you know, in case you go after someone, and like
And
we
that
saw
seems like the
when
Niners tend to do if they think they have a competitive team. They usually make, whether it was 2019 when we went after
Emmanuel Sanders.
Emmanuel Sanders, and then of course last year when we shocked. I didn't think they were going at that. To me, still is one of the best moves this franchise has ever made, and
Yeah.
he's one of the best players in the NFL.
Oh
And
yeah.
when all said and done, is like he's a Hall of Fame level type player, Christian McCaffrey. Like he has that kind of game.
Yeah,
So
McCaffrey is definitely a Hall of Fame type player. And I will say one thing, low key, I really, really want the deal to happen. I'm telling myself, no way, ain't happening. It happens, and I'm like the happiest person.
yeah, I kept having to read it on the bottom line of like NFL Network. I'm like, no freaking way. The
Yeah,
best part about it is I haven't bought a jersey yet because I didn't know if he was going to switch his number, but it looks like
yeah,
he's going to stay
yeah,
with 23, hopefully, which is also a
yeah,
great number
yeah,
because I'm a big MJ
yeah,
guy.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah. I'm also the same way. I've been waiting and waiting to get one of the six jerseys of
I need to lose
his.
a little weight. I'm a little heavy because I've been out of work a
Yeah,
while. So I need to
yeah,
lose about 15 pounds before I get another jersey because if I buy one, I'm going to look like I'm pregnant. So
yeah,
that'll be weird. Um,
yeah.
let's talk some rookie deals. I'm going to pick a couple players out of the hat here.
Okay.
What did what did the contract look like for a guy like Jake Moody? What did the Niners sign him for?
Um, it was I believe a 4 year, $4.5 million contract, and it included. I think it was a 900. It was in the $900,000 range signing bonus. That also includes lot too, because
What
they
What's
got
funny
paid
that
the
you say
same.
that is he almost got paid what they would have been offering Robbie Gold,
Yeah,
um, but with a
yeah,
younger
basically.
leg
Yep,
and less of an ego.
yep.
Trying to think. I mean, are the contracts that are signed during this time of year, are they very much kind of like by the book as far as the league goes? Are things
Uh,
different per team, or is it pretty much like this is your scale of what you sign guys for?
Draft wise, it's they go by a rookie scale. So each pick gets assigned a slot value, and you can't sign for higher than that. You can get a player assigned for less, but that ain't gonna happen. I mean, you got the number one pick getting the highest amount possible, and you got the last pick in the highest amount that he can get. So in between, everything slotted at one. At they're not the same amount each of them. You know, Jair Brown got a higher signing bonus than Jake Moody and Cameron Watson did, but at the same time, they're making the same amount of money this year when it comes to the base salary. It's all in league
Yeah, because
now.
they're all in the third round. Even if it's at the end of the third round, they still. That's
And
interesting.
even first and second round picks, they all get 700. They all get the rookie minimum in year one.
That's insane. Remember how it used to be,
Mm-hmm.
where first round picks would hold out and they would sign for exorbitant amounts of money, and then end up sucking and not. And it's just like the what's his name from the Raiders, the big fat quarterback that ended up being nothing, Jamarcus Russell.
Yep. Yep.
Got paid, and then that was it. Like he actually was good at football and played well in college and high school. And then as soon as
Yep.
he came to the NFL, he got paid, and that was pretty much like, yeah, I'm done.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with
Exactly.
you. I'll be honest with you. If I was a player, and I know I was kind of a middle level player and I was an elite, I would do what I forget the backup quarterback that was on the has been on the Saints for all these years. He's made a killer living being
Oh,
a third back.
Taysom Hill.
No, not Taysom Hill. I'm trying to think of his name, or he might be the backup in San Diego. I always forget his name. Uh,
Oh, Chase
Chase
Daniel.
Daniel. He's made a killing in the NFL, and he's barely stepped on the
Yes,
field. That would
yes,
be
he's
me.
barely.
I would play
Yeah,
10 years, 7 to 10 years, and I don't care. I mean, winning is important, but security for my family. If I made one contract and I made, multiple millions, I'm saving every bit of that. I'm living off of signing bonus and all that stuff.
exactly,
And then I'm investing
exactly,
it. I'm getting a mid-level house. I'm not living outside my means. And you literally could live the rest of your life without ever working another day. The only way you're
exactly.
blowing through millions like that is if you live, you know, if you think you're bougie and you're not, and you run out of it really fast. But that would be
Yep.
me as a player. I would come into the league, work, play 7 to 10 years, and that would be it. I wouldn't care if I won or not. That's unfortunate, but I want
Yeah,
players to play for
yeah,
winning, but as a person, I wouldn't. I would
yeah,
play for
yeah,
financial security,
yeah,
especially for my family,
yeah.
my mom, stuff like that.
Exactly.
What is
I would do the same thing.
Yeah, like I wouldn't. I don't know. I expect the players to play for all the stakes, but as a person, I would be completely opposite.
Yeah.
What do you got coming on 49erscap.com? Anything interesting articles that people go look at? Anything up right
Um,
now?
the latest thing that I put up was the Bosa contract projection.
Okay.
Um, I had some ideas of things to do, but it's just such a slow time of the off season of the year football wise that I don't live in California, so I
Neither do
don't
I,
have,
homie.
yeah,
I
I
live
don't
in New
have
York.
the, yeah, me too. I I don't
Interesting.
have, yeah,
What
I
part of New
don't
York do you
have
live in?
Albany area.
I live in Rochester.
Oh wow,
That's
that's
crazy. Ha ha
yeah,
ha.
that's like 3 hours from me, but
That's
that's
interesting.
crazy.
Go ahead.
Yeah,
I'm sorry to interrupt you.
but yeah, I don't have anything concrete coming out. I have some ideas. I just it's just a slow time of the year right now, content wise. It's so hard to like come up with something new and fresh, and
No,
not
I
keep
agree.
using the same thing over and over again. And I'm guilty of doing it
We all
now and
do.
then, and I try my hardest and my damnedest not to do the same stuff over and over. But
What what is your do you is this do you do the 49ers cap thing? Do you work outside of that?
no, I'm actually I'm on disability basically.
Oh, okay.
I'm I grew up very had a tough um coming up as a kid. I was bullied, and right around 9/11, I was diagnosed with depression, OCD, anxiety,
Oh, believe
bipolar
me.
disorder.
Uh, I live with it. I'm surprised I
So
still work.
yeah, so I have a hard time keeping a job. Really, like
Mhm.
I don't. My ideal job is like doing what I'm doing now, doing it
Me
for
too.
like the athletic or
100%.
something. And if I could, I would. But
Same. If I was able to make this as a living, it would be the most
yep,
awesome thing.
hmm yeah,
Although I will say, I have a job. Uh, Doing this all the time, you do burn out,
yeah,
and you
yeah,
go from loving football to looking at it as a job to oh, I gotta have a stream tonight. Like, you ever watch a game and you're so exhausted after watching a game because it was such an emotional game, and then you're
yep,
like, oh, I got to go on YouTube and talk about this and have talking points, and I
yep,
had to remember statistics and this, and I'm like, I don't want to do it, but then at the end of it, when we're all done with the stream, I'm so happy that we did.
yeah,
That's why I
yeah,
reached out to 5 of you this week. You were the
yep,
fifth. because I know I'm going back to work, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna freaking kill it this week because no one's really gonna see me other than if I decide to do, the NWO show, Burst and Ted, and me and Raj when we have our show on Tuesday. Those are my 3 shows, and that's it. And there's not a ton going on right now, so you're right. You gotta make best of what you're doing.
Yeah, exactly.
I think we pretty much nailed it, man. It's we pretty much, like I said, 45 minutes to an hour because it's getting to that point in the off season where it's just kind of like we already talked about that. The quarterback drama, what was going on, and everyone was talking about with that whole thing with Larry and Ryan, myself, it caught fire for a while, and it definitely had 49er fans being dysfunctional as they always are, going at each other's necks and throats over something that we can't control. So pretty much par for the course, same as usual. One day, if we ever get an all-pro quarterback, and then we won't have to worry about this anymore. But I'm sure we'll find ways. But appreciate the chat. Appreciate everybody coming in here.
Thank you.
I appreciate Jason for coming through. Everybody have a great rest of your night. And I'll see you guys in the future at some point. I don't know when. I'll see how news is going next week. And maybe I'll jump on the NWO show. But everything's still kind of up in the air. So everybody take care.